where we came from.
We have been running our whole lives. Pete, I'm done running.
You will never be able to break my family.
Hey, thanks for clicking. This is the only after school podcast. I'm Jesse Johns, and here with me today, my guest, Teejay Leeson. How you doing today, TJ?
I'm doing all right. Haven't really been doing much recently, but I'm just glad that you invited me on to the podcast again. It's been a while since we did one, so I'm glad to be here.
Cool. TJ, thank you so much for being here again with me today. I think it's been since Best Movies of 2022 video, wasn't it?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few months, man. I mean, it's been a while, man. So this is a good
Yeah.
opportunity for us to talk again.
Yeah, that's true.
So, actually, this episode we're actually going to be talking about two movies today. TJ, what movies are we going to be talking about today?
They are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Fast X.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Fast X. In my opinion, I'm gonna call it Fast 10 because it's not Fast X sounds weird to me. I mean, you can call it Fast X. That ain't my problem. Just me. It's just me, the way I sound it. Fast X. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's Twitter doing that to me since it's X now, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, right. I get 100%, man.
Mhm.
What movie do you want to talk about first?
We'll talk about Guardians first.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay. Actually got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 here. So.
Nice.
You can actually get it on Disney Plus, or you can actually buy it to own now. So, anyway, the movie came out. It was almost summertime, so the movie came out in May, right?
Yeah, sounds about right. Yep.
Okay. And TJ, you want to explain what the plot of this movie is?
So really, it's centered around Rocket, right? And I guess the idea that he was possibly dying and how the team was trying their best to save him. And then over the course of the movie, he's kind of rediscovering himself and what he really is for the team. Something like that.
And then, what I like about this new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, they mainly focus on Rocket's character.
Yeah.
Because this is where we actually get to see Rocket's backstory. And the thing is, of course, the team is, it's been maybe a few years since, not been a few years, but it's been like maybe happened during a set time between Thor: Love of Thunder and Guardians Volume 3, because you remember, because characters kind of changed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the last time we saw Guardians was Thor: Love of Thunder, was that movie that was a boo,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the screaming goat was in the movie. Especially Nebula just want to shoot him down. That at least made it funny because Nebula's not trying to be funny.
Right.
No, but anyway, so you can tell a lot has changed since then. Because you got Star Lord, which is played by Chris Pratt. Because he's still struggling after the loss of Gamora from Avengers: Infinity War, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he's still struggling, and of course everybody else is kind of doing their own thing because you got Nebula, Drax, and Groot. They're all trying to open up not a store. It was something like do you remember what they were trying to open?
Opening what?
Like, remember they were trying to build something. It didn't happen till like later on in the movie. You know what I mean? Because this is the opening scene.
In Volume 3.
You remember the scene when Rocket is just walking around, listening to the creep song? Because you remember they were putting up a sign. Remember?
Oh, okay. Was that like their headquarters or something?
Yeah, I think what it was. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
I saw the movie twice, so this kind of bad memory here.
I've only seen it once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell a lot's going on, and then of course a few moments in the movie, that's when Rocket gets attacked, and of course now he's dying. Now Guardians is trying to go to this plan to trying to save Rocket's life.
Yep.
I can't remember what place they went to, but then they went to like some type of prison trying to get this one device. Remember?
Yeah, that I remember. And they're
Okay.
in those funny spacesuits.
Yep, that's it right there. They're in those funny space suits, and I remember that's when Gamora shows up because remember this is the new Gamora. It's not the old Gamora because the other Gamora died in Avengers: Infinity War. Well, as we all know, the big one killed her. You know, Thanos.
Yep.
So so this is a different Gamora that everybody's not used to because this time Gamora's really it's kind of a jerk. You know.
Which makes sense considering she doesn't have the same story as the other Gamora.
Yeah, TJ, you're exactly right. It definitely does make sense that Gamora is basically a jerk in this new Guardians of the Galaxy because in older Gamora she doesn't have the same exact story as this new Gamora.
Yep.
Because remember in Defenders was it Endgame when Gamora comes back?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, and
That was
that's when
basically Gamora before she even met the Guardians.
right. So and of course they're struggling because they're not used to this Gamora
Yeah.
but that's a whole different point and. So you can tell a lot's changed since then.
Yep.
And because now she's part of a Ravager, I think it was.
Yep, that's them.
Okay. And of course, spoiler free because everybody kind of knows about now, but we got the cameo from the man himself, Sylvester Stallone makes a cameo in this new one.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm a big Stallone fan, like watching him on screen. So
Yeah. And it was cool because he's already in volume 2.
yeah, because he wasn't playing him too, just for one scene, that was it, right?
And then at the end. He was in the beginning of the movie and at the end.
Kind of like how this one was. Yeah. Honestly, I forgot about some of the stuff happened in Volume 2 because it's the most forgettable one, I guess you can say. So,
Mm.
um, and of course, Ravagers, gets his device. Now all they gotta do is wait for a rocket to wake up.
Yeah.
Um, but going into this movie, I didn't expect it. TJ, because I actually watched this with TJ. Um, going into this, I mean, I said a million times I'm sort of been disappointed with the whole Marvel area, after Endgame, it just went,
Yeah.
I think this new one, at least I've been wanting to watch it. I wasn't, I mean, I was excited about it, but I wasn't I was like, I don't know, because, lately they've been, crap. But I will say this definitely is the best MCU movie since Endgame.
I might agree with that. I mean, maybe with the exception of No Way Home, but honestly, Guardians 3 might be a better movie. So it might be the best. I don't know. It's definitely up there.
Well, really think about it. If you really think about it, it's emotional in this Guardians of the Galaxy. What I'm trying to say,
Yes.
it's really emotional. I know people in the theater were just they ain't like all, but you can tell it wasn't really funny. It was more serious in this new one,
Yeah.
and I respect it for that because honestly, this was kind of a more serious one that James Gunn did because I think he wrote it too, didn't he? Because I know he directed all three of these.
You probably did.
Because I know he said after this movie he's done with the Guardians movies. So
Kind of like how the Russos are with the Avengers movies. They're pretty much done.
yeah. Let me ask you something. If you think this new Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 movie, do you think at the end, after the send off, between the Guardians, because this is the last one, right? Do you think this would be a perfect ending if they just stopped right there?
Yes. Because it's implied that, hey, the teams are different. They went to separate ways doing stuff. We don't need to see them together again doing another story or mission or whatever. They don't have to do that. So I think it was a good send off.
I did too, because they got okay. It might be a spoiler. I don't know because there's a final battle at the end when Rocket finally wakes up, right? When he tells Peter, "I'm done running," and of course they had this epic battle at the end when they're trying to get those kids and animals, from this wherever they're at the end. You remember?
Where were they at?
You remember they were in a different spaceship, wasn't it? When they're trying to get the kids and the animals out.
I don't know the specific name, but the villain, was he the High Evolutionary? Is that what it was? Or am I getting that
Yeah,
completely wrong?
I
Okay.
believe so.
So
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that was his ship. That's
yeah,
all I
yeah.
know.
Yeah. So you can tell that they need to be out, and that's just what the battle's about. Let's fight and get these kids and animals out of there. So
Yeah.
and that's when they find out. That was basically the last mission. And I and that's when we find out that this is their send off.
Yeah.
Because Peter even said to himself, because actually I just actually rewatched it. He said that I've been running away since I was 8 years old, and I'm going to need some time learn how to swim. Be like a human. And of course, I can't remember his sister's name.
Mantis.
Mantis. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Mantis. She said that she needs to take some time too because she did basically what the Guardians wanted. And of course, she made Drax a dad, not a destroyer.
Yeah. That
That's what I
was
like about
nice.
this new one. Because honestly, I mean, I don't hate Drax, but I don't necessarily. He's not my favorite character. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you not like that he's too goofy?
Not too goofy. I mean, too goofy ain't my problem. It's just that he thinks he's more serious. So,
Oh, okay.
but this one, I'm glad he was goofy. So I think they really did change his character.
I say that because he was pretty goofy in Guardians 2. Remember, like some of the stuff he was doing in that movie?
I can't remember.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
decently goofy in that one.
Oh, if I remember correctly, he in number two, he like went through this one little alien, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And he act
Oh
like he
yeah,
killed it.
oh yeah, I do remember that. Freaking completely forgot that movie was.
Hmm.
So, um, and of course, Nebula is going to lead the city. So
Yeah.
that's when Rocket is basically was like, so the group's over. Are we done? And Peter said no, but the galaxy still needs its guardians, and basically they made Rocket a leader.
Yeah. Which
And
was nice because they basically foreshadowed it.
yeah, so like they did this at the end.
Yeah.
So that was nice, and unexpectedly, we can understand what Groot's saying now in this movie.
Yeah.
Because at the end, Groot says, "I love you guys," instead of saying, "I am Groot."
That was a nice touch because at first you're thinking, oh, he's just saying, I love you guys. But then you think, wait a minute, he's still probably saying, I am Groot to people who don't know what he's saying. But since we've
Mhm.
been with him so long, now we understand him.
Yep, because that's what I heard. That after this movie, we can understand what he's saying now.
Yeah.
So now we don't have to hear "I am Groot" all the time. That ain't my problem. If they ever did a solo Groot movie, like say, like they actually did a movie with Groot, just Groot, I think it would be kind of annoying to hear him saying "I am Groot, I am Groot," a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So
Did they say they're gonna make like a sequel to like the Groot TV show or special, whatever that, or is that am I just going crazy?
I think there was a "I am Groot" TV show on Disney Plus
Right.
one. I thought there was. I thought they were making a sequel, second season.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah, they are. There is gonna be a season 2 to it.
There is going to be season two to it. Okay, okay.
Yep.
So, and what kind of got me that because they said it's going to be the saddest Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and guess what? Nobody dies. Surprisingly,
Right.
because I expected going into that we're going to lose one of our Guardians.
Hmm. Rocket was suspect number one. People assumed he was gonna go.
Yeah. And secondly, I thought Peter was going to go.
Hmm.
But I'm glad it was a happy ending. So.
Yeah.
Because everybody was dancing at the end, I really liked that scene. It was a pretty good movie. I had a good time with this new one, but I still think Marvel is still slipping. I mean they still are. I mean there's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? So
Right. If anything, it was just one movie that was good, but that doesn't mean everything else is gonna be good.
right, right. Well, TJ, do you got a final thought on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I also liked how they handled Gamora by the end. They didn't have her just get back with Peter for some reason. They just said, nope,
Hmm.
you're just not meant to be. I like that touch.
Yeah, where she says, I'm still not who you want me to be. He says, I know.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad Peter's moved on because it's not the same Gamora that he used to love.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. I mean, some things are meant to be. So,
Hmm.
so,
That's the thing is like even though no character died, you really felt like the story developed in a way where things came to an end, things didn't work out quite the way you expected for certain characters.
Mhm. Um, what was your here I ask what would you give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Mm, it's definitely at least an eight. It's either an eight or a nine for me for sure.
I'm thinking for me eight, 8 out of 10. You know,
Hmm.
because there were a couple of things I was like, all right, we could have done this a little bit better, but other than that, I still thought it was a solid movie. You know,
Yeah,
so uh,
definitely one of the better ones.
yeah, 100% for sure. Especially the addition of Cosmo, the dog. So,
Yeah.
so that was cool. So, um, I actually got all three Guardians movies here. I like the first one the best. So this is my number one, and I just said a while ago this is actually my second favorite. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and and a pretty all right sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So
Did you watch them before watching the new one?
no, I didn't. I mean,
Okay.
well, I probably should have because I kind of remember more about the first one than I do about the second one.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I remember about the second one that Kurt Russell's the villain, and that was it. So
Hmm.
so what you like best at least?
I want to say one, then three, and then two, but I'm not exactly sure how I feel about one and three, but I'll just say that for now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Two
So
definitely will probably be like my least favorite though.
yeah, I mean, it's still pretty good. It's just kind
Yeah.
of a most forgettable one. So
Hmm.
but other than that, that's my final thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What about you?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it except it was just a really good movie.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I recommend anybody seeing it if they haven't been liking Marvel recently. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. So I really liked it. So the second movie that we're going to talk about, was we just said earlier, is actually Fast X. Fast X, I just recently got it. And so I actually got Guardians Volume 3 and Fast X. So I actually got those two a week apart, because I actually did want them for my collection because I actually got quite a bit of movies, as you can tell. So
Hmm.
uh, still think the Fast movies still kind of run its course, but this one, it was still solid, for what it was. I guess it's my turn to talk about the plot of this, huh?
Yeah, sure.
The plot of this movie, it takes place after 10 years after Fast 5. Because this is when Dom O'Brien pulled a safe from Herbert Rains. Okay, because remember, this is the addition of Jason Momoa. He's playing the villain in this new one. It's basically now they pulled a safe. Of course, Dante, he's an unknown character that we have never seen before. And so now he's back, and they basically re-edited it to where he was in Fast 5 in the opening scene of this new one.
He was there all along.
He was there all along. We just never seen it. And of course, 10 years later, Dominic Toretto, he's trying to spend some fatherhood with his son. He's trying to enjoy life. Because he has a kid now. And also he wants another kid with Letty. So, well, I won't give too much details. And of course, they found out that because actually, the funny fact, or not funny, but funny fact is that they thought they had a mission in Rome for little nobody, I think. Remember, I think that's when Roman, Tej, Han, and Ramsey, they went off in Rome to go do a mission, or they thought they were going to do a mission, and then they found out they were set up.
Yeah, that I remember.
Okay, you remember that's when Dom and Letty found out they were set up. Of course, then that means they got to go with the agency, go to Rome, try to stop
Hmm.
them, which, is too late.
Yeah.
And of course, they're trying to stop. And of course, that's when the bomb happened. And they're trying to stop this wrecking ball, as I like to call it. Because Jason Momoa is actually the one that he's controlling the bomb. So,
Yeah.
and that's basically. And after that, then they were framed. They thought they terrorized Rome, and now they're wanted. Because the bomb incident happened.
All that trouble.
All that trouble. Yeah, ain't that so weird? Like one mission that you were set up, and they just got you.
Things went bad from bad to worse so fast for them.
Yeah, because after they did a job in Fast Five and all the way up to number 9, they work for the agency. So
Yeah.
it's funny that happened. And of course, that's what makes it interesting because I'm getting like Avengers Infinity War vibes, and what most of you are gonna be like, wait, what do you mean about that? It's because you got Dom, you know, since he's wanted, he needs to go off do his own thing. And of course, Letty, the agency got Letty, and then of course you got Tej, Roman, Han, and Ramsey. They're all kind of doing off their own thing, only because they need to split up.
Yep. I remember that.
Okay, because they're all being tracked. Remember,
Yeah.
because if they're all were together, they all would have been more in trouble. So, because now the agency after them, and now Dante, he's after Dominic Toretto. I've seen the movie too, where he goes to Rome and he finds him in Rio. That's what it was, and he said, "You remember my father?" And he said, "Herman Reyes." He's like, "Yeah." And of course, later on, he says, "My daddy was a horrible man, very bad daddy, but I kind of liked him when you took away our money and you left us nothing but suffering." And of course, he says, "Well, that's what I came here for, to end that suffering." And then later on, he goes, "Oh, I didn't take your money. I burnt it." He went, "Oh,
He has a funny way of wanting revenge, doesn't he?
yeah." Because let me ask you something. When you were going into this movie, you expected Jason Momoa just be really intense, right?
For the most part, some of the trailers kind of showed him being a little jokey, but you still kind of assume he'd be a little serious.
Well, the first trailer it showed him be more serious. You know what I mean? So I expected be like really intense.
Right.
And this one, once you're watching the movie, you're like, huh? Because he's literally giving us Joker vibes. You remember?
Yes, I remember
Oh my
that.
god! It's just so every single time he does something stupid, it makes me laugh. Only because it just reminds me of Joker, like Heath Ledger's joking. So I mean, it's so. I mean, I want to say weird, but I don't know if he did it intentionally. But you could tell he was having a blast just playing this character.
Yeah. The only issue you might see with that is if the scene is supposed to be very serious, but then he makes you laugh when he's not supposed to.
Yeah,
That could be a problem, but he's just too funny.
yeah, he is funny. That's what makes it funny. And yeah, TJ, like you're exactly right that at least made it funny. Which all these other villains that we had in the past, they're more serious, but this one he's more Joker.
Yeah, he definitely
So
was.
yeah, ain't that something?
It worked though,
It really did work. It really did work, and we all know this is gonna be in two parts, right?
at least.
Yeah, I hope they're talking about making it a trilogy. Which I hope, honestly, I don't think the trilogy is really confirmed. I think they just kind of just threw it out there, so I don't think it was actually confirmed that this will actually will happen. So
Right. Unless the next movie all of a sudden makes like $1 billion. And like, you know what, let's make one more.
like to do with everything else anymore.
Right.
The people I talked to about this, like a lot of people wasn't really a lot of people wasn't keen about how it was like three separate stories. But honestly, if you really think about it, because this is where they're trying to set up for the first part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah. So I don't think they were trying to copy off any other movie. I think they was trying to set it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you remember later on, we seen trailers and stuff where Little B, Dominic Toretto's son, he gets kidnapped. You remember?
Yep.
Okay, and remember he got his son back at the end, and after the ending, it just left us a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "Oh man." And TJ, I remember you were telling me this. Did you say something about when you're looking at the reviews of this movie? Did you say that a lot of people wasn't too friend about the cliffhanger ending?
Yeah, because basically it ensures, well, you have to watch the next one. You can't just watch this one because if you do, then you won't understand what happens next. Like it ends in such a way where you have to watch the next one. And I think that might have bothered some people.
Well, it's kind of like how it was with anything else, with cliffhanger. So,
I mean, I guess it depends on what that is.
like, I mean, really, look at Avengers: Infinity War. That kind of left us hanging.
But see, the problem is he did the job. It's one thing if it like cut off right as he did the snap, but the movie still kept going after it. So some people might make that argument.
Oh yeah, because at the end, and when he finally gets his son back, of course, in the scene where Dominic Toretto drops off a cliff, trying to
Right.
escape from this fire, and after that, that's when and Dante basically said like the suffering is over. It's time for you to die. You remember?
Yeah.
And he said that, and then that's when we were like, oh man,
See,
so
like it would imagine if Infinity War it ended at the snap, and then we have no idea who gets snapped until we watch Endgame.
right,
Could you imagine that?
yeah, yeah. Ain't that something? Yeah,
Yeah.
because you never know about these cliffhanger endings anymore. You never know what you're gonna get. What I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah.
do you have like disappointments with this movie? If you don't mind me asking.
I mean, sure, maybe it's over the top, but I mean, I know that's what they're doing now, but it's just one of those things where you almost become desensitized to it. So it may not hit as hard as it usually would because they're
Mhm.
trying so much all the time. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like I've noticed with this one.
Well, it's not as over the top as it was with F9. We'll get to our rankings of that in a little bit. But my biggest problem with this one, because I like street racing, but it wasn't like exciting street race as I thought it was going to be.
It felt like they just had it just for the sake of having a street race.
Yeah, because remember, because Dante challenged him to race, and also when they're racing, before they race, he said, how do you choose the ones you save? And you basically were like, uh-oh, something's going to happen, and then
Right.
you find out they put two different bombs in the other two cars, and trying to make Dominic, just trying to choose,
Yeah.
and of course one dies. Of course he was able to save the other one, but that's and see, I was like, oh come on, I mean they could have done a little bit better than that, why couldn't we just have like a standard street race,
Right. I don't
So
want to. I'm not going to nitpick too much, but do you think he should have just he should have just put the bomb on Dom's car to just take him out since that's what he's trying to do anyway? Because why do the other cars? We can just take out Dom immediately.
yeah,
I
you got a
get
good
it. You
point
can't
there.
just kill off the character immediately, but still, it's just funny to see that. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't want to kill you right now. I want to wait later to do it.
I mean I think that's what the point was, like he's trying to make him suffer,
Yeah.
because we got some new characters. When it comes to like Brie Larson, of course she's trying to help Dominic out, and of course you got Ames, Agent Ames, who's a new captain for the agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got everything's kind of going on right now. So I would say everything's a little all over the place, but it's not really all over the place. Because you got one thing that's happening another. So.
Yeah.
So the street race, I was a little bit. I wasn't really. I didn't hate the street race. I was kind of like, oh, come on,
I can understand that.
So, so anyway, um, and I think we'll get to see a lot more in this next part because I know it's not due till 2025. So yeah, guess what? We gotta wait 2 more years. That sucks. So
Nice.
yeah, that sucks because usually these part one, part twos, you think they'll shoot them back to back.
Hmm.
I well, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's not the best in the series, but it's not the worst either. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
TJ, let me ask you something.
All right.
In this new one, because I think I think the series should have ended at 7, right?
Yeah, they
Uh,
kind of ran it scores.
yeah. So, but is there something that you like particular about this new one that you did with the previous ones, or no, not really?
The villain. That's the first thing that stands out to me.
Jason Momoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Jason. You made the best villain in history.
Yeah. Definitely for the
Uh,
fast moves, at least.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he did great as villain. So, you guys, honestly, if you can get him act so nuts, like because he did act completely so nuts in this movie,
Yeah.
because he was insane. And also at the end in battle with, because John Cena's playing, he's an uncle in this movie, so well, that's another thing I like about it that you get to see, the Uncle Jacob and Little B moment.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, because you're hanging out, and of course John Cena's just being all goofy. So that's why I said you got a lot of goofy moments in this movie, which I did like. So this one, I can actually sit down and kind of relax and have a good time with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So,
think this one also did a better job at knowing when not to cross the line and being too unrealistic or too ridiculous.
yeah,
They're like right at that line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because kind of like how 9 was, because 9 they just kind of that was way too over the top.
Yeah.
So other than that, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I still think it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. So
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not the best, but it's not the worst.
yeah, so that one, so that's one. I think it's safe to say it's definitely one of the better ones for sure. So,
Yeah.
what was your rating on Fast 10?
Uh, I was probably saying like it was a 7. I think it's around a 7 for me.
A 7? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If I shut
I
my
think
mind off, don't take it too seriously, it's like a 7.
okay, okay. I think that's a fair score for me, since I think at least they were trying to not go stupid, you know. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10, you know.
Okay.
So because I kind of shut my brain off after what happened in 9. Which how about this? Might as well give her rankings, right?
Sure.
Actually, I got them right here. I actually got all the Fast movies here, so I'm gonna tell you which one I like worst to best. How about that? Okay,
All right.
the bottom is Tokyo Drift. Why is this at the bottom of the
Ooh.
list? It's just it didn't feel like a Fast movie. It's more like a drifting movie. You know what I mean?
I guess I can
So
see that from what I've heard or seen about it.
okay, so yeah, it's not. It doesn't have like the main characters. You don't got Dom. You don't got Brian. You know,
Hmm.
so that's why this is at the bottom. And and second worst is F9, Fast 9. Because as we mentioned earlier, that they jumped the shark. You know, it was way too over the top. You know, and of course you got Dominic Toretto. He's driving off a cliff, and all of a sudden he not driving off a cliff. He was trying to drive off his little bridge, wasn't it? And it turned out it wasn't a bridge. It was like a rope or whatever. And he grabbed his rim into it. It just looked so stupid. You know,
Yeah.
because you remember that part, right?
Yes, I do. It was in the trailer too, a little bit.
Yep, it's in the trailer, and also you got like Magnus, which is makes no sense, you know. And also you got and of course at the end,
Oh, yeah. They took, was it a car? They took a car into space.
yep, yeah, yeah, what a great idea, you know. Let's take a car into freaking space, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, because when you went to space, you're like, okay, come on, like this is a joke, you know. Because I actually heard like, I'm not sure if it's true. I heard that someone made a joke about this on Twitter or something like that. Was like, what they're gonna do next? Go to space? And then I'm assuming the writers or director saw it. You're like, why don't we just put the incredible joke in there and actually put a car into space? You know,
Yep.
and you actually put that joke in there, and then you actually done it. You're like, okay, like this is nonsense. You know, so
I feel like F9 was low key an experiment to see just how ridiculous they can make the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but the one thing I did like about it is that you get to see, Dom and Jacob, why they haven't talked for so long. That at least helped the movie out a little bit. It's not. I mean, God, man, it's the second worst. Sorry, I know a lot of people were not too fond of that movie just because they went to space.
Yeah.
So actually, my eighth place will have to go to Too Fast, Too Furious. I actually really enjoyed this one. I think my biggest problem because you don't have your main stars, but you do get Brian, but that's a different point. I think it would be better if it's just like a standalone movie. Does that make sense?
I can see that, I guess. It doesn't really
Yeah.
feel like it fits in with the others as much.
Right, right. Because it's more like a mission movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but this one you can actually sit down and kind of relax and have a good time with it. Because I always enjoy this one.
That's probably
Because
the most nostalgic one for me.
yeah, because remember, because it has a lot of great scenes in this movie, so that's why I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't I personally really like it. So that's why it's at number 8. So that's one I really do like. Okay, okay. Now seventh place that will be Fast 10. Um. So as I said a while ago, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. But I feel like it's safe to put in seventh place for now anyway. So other than that, I thought that was pretty solid. So seventh place we'll have to go to Fast 10.
All right.
My sixth place actually we'll have to go to the fourth movie, Fast and Furious. Then why I like this one, because it feels like more like combat. It feels like a Fast and Furious movie because that's when you got all your original characters back. So
Yeah.
so and of course you got the Charger. That's my favorite car, the franchise. So and this one, the one thing I remember about this is that Letty dies. Well, she's not technically dead anymore, but Letty dies and Brian's a FBI agent. And of course, they're after Dominic Toretto for some of the things that he didn't do, which, it's a whole different circumstances. So,
No one really stays dead in this series, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. People just dies and comes back. Seems like.
Yeah.
And Lady was the first one.
Hmm.
so, so that's Fast and Furious. And my fifth place is actually The Fate of the Furious. This one I do think is overhated. Uh, and I think it's weird that not weird, but I think a lot of people poo-poo over this scene where the cars are trying to get away from a submarine. Remember that?
Yep.
Okay, a lot of people poo-poo over that, but honestly, really think about it, it's kind of most. I want to say realistic, but it's not. It's not over the top. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I feel like 8 and 9 just feel like how we get over top after this. You know what I mean? So
That's exactly what it was, basically.
yeah, so but that's why this one's actually a lot better than 9 was. Because actually, so they had a good streak. But after that one, you're like, okay, what's going on here? So.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but this one, I kind of like what it was because you got the addition to Cypher, which is played by Charlie Theron, and of course Dominic Toretto goes rogue in the movie.
He sure did.
So so yeah, so there's a lot of twists and turns, and that's when you find out Dominic Toretto has a kid in this one.
All right.
So anyway, so I found this really entertaining to watch. So that's why I don't really hate it. I really enjoyed it. So that goes to the Fate of the Furious, and the fourth place. I'm gonna have to give it to the original. I mean, you got to respect the original movie. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
it's just because like it's the original. So, it probably don't age too well, but you gotta enjoy it for what it is. You know what I mean? So, because this is the beginning of the series, and this is the younger Vin Diesel and Paul Walker there. So
We see how it all began.
yeah, this is how it all began. So, but this one, you gotta respect the original. So that's why that goes to fourth. Okay, I haven't even mentioned 5, 6, and 7 yet. So my third place is actually Fast and Furious 6. I really and this is where we kind of getting like the criminal cop agency thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, but a lot of great moments in this movie too. You got the tank. The camp pops up in the movie.
Hmm.
And a lot of great stuff about this movie. So that's why I really enjoyed this one.
Which is the one where the car goes out the window? Was that 8 or 7?
That'll be 7.
Okay.
Where are you talking about? Building goes to building.
Yep.
Yep, that's 7. That's 7.
Okay.
Um. Oh, what do you think my second place is, TJ? I haven't
8.
mentioned 5 or 7 yet. So
Wait. Oh, wait. You said 5.
it's
Yeah.
5. So Fast 5. I really enjoyed this one. I like the part where again Dom O'Brien pulled the safe out. So
Okay.
yeah, and that's probably the best part in this movie, and also like how they got a team together. Pulled this one job off.
And that's
So
when they introduced The Rock.
yeah, that's when they introduced The Rock. So as Hobbs. So
Okay.
and this actually in this movie, this is my favorite fight scene between Dominic Toretto and Hobbs.
Okay.
So but honestly, I really enjoy this one. It has a lot of great moments. So I'll go to number 5, and now. That's my run up. That's my favorite one in the franchise, Furious 7. And this is the one that they were shooting, and of course, Paul Walker's tragic death. While they were shooting this movie. So
Yeah.
and so I think they honestly this should have been the last one here.
It would have made sense to end it
Because
there.
this is where Dom and Brian goes off their separate ways, and I think they handled they changed the story up because I'm not sure what the original ending would have been, but since he passed away, I'm kind of glad they were able to figure out how can we end this, so
But if they
with
ended it there, we wouldn't have got Jason Momoa as the villain.
right so yeah. Because this one, Jason Statham is actually the villain in this movie too.
Yeah.
So that's why I love this one. It's actually one of my favorite. It's actually my favorite movie of the Fast and Furious movies. And I think they handle the situation quite well. And yes, TJ, as you asked me earlier, this is the one that jumped building to building. This is it right here.
Ah, that makes sense.
So so yeah, I kind of like that scene. To tell you the truth, when Dom and Brian are going one building to another, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, this one, that's what. Remember, they drove cars off the airplane.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah, that scene was pretty insane. So,
And I'm assuming Tyrese is like really scared to do it. Yep.
yep, that's it. So, but no, I really enjoyed it. I love this one. I really like it. So, but no, that's my final thoughts on Furious 7.
All right.
TJ, well, what about you? What's your rankings of the Fast movies?
So I'll just rank the ones that I remember the most, and that starts from 7 all the way to X. And so I'll keep it short and sweet because it's been a while since I've seen most of those. So number 4 would probably be 9. Definitely would be 9 because that was the one that just was really over the top. Like out of all of those, that one I feel like had the least story in it too. So yeah, that'll definitely be number 4.
Mm,
Number 3. I'm stuck between 2 right now. Let me
okay,
see. For now, I'm gonna just say X. I'll say number 3 is X.
number
It's
three is
just
X.
because, yeah, maybe it was a bit safe, maybe a bit too safe. It was good, but maybe the other two I think did a little more that maybe grabbed my attention more. So I'm gonna say the X is 3.
Okay.
2, I'll say is 8. And the reason why I'm gonna say 8 is 2 is because of the whole twist with Dom, and I thought that was a nice twist. Like, remember in the trailer when they showed that, oh, he's the villain or he might be the villain? It was like, whoa. And so that grabbed my attention. And then I like how they tied it up at the end. So,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, where they find out, Don Metro is Rogue.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's where it got most people's attention. Because remember, I saw a trailer for this one, and I was like, wait a minute, what happened here? So
Exactly.
that caught my attention there. So
And then I guess was that the first time they had Hobbs and Statham's character working together before the spinoff?
yes, yes.
Okay. So that
Oh
was
yeah,
cool too.
I've got the best spinoff too. I got it right here too. So
Mm.
yep.
All right.
But no, I didn't include this as a fast list. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. So yeah, I would put 8 at number 2, and then number 1 I'll put 7. It's
okay.
simple one just because of Paul Walker and how that movie kind of, even though I know they didn't make the movie too intensely revolve around him as time went on, it just really felt like it was a love letter to him and everything he meant for the series and his acting career. And so that was a very nice send off. I remember seeing that in theater and it was very emotional.
Mm.
So, and I mean, I think the movie was just good in general, but especially that emotional aspect of it was what made it stand out from the rest of the Fast movies for me. And so that's why it's number 1 for me.
Great answer. Yeah, and kind of like, and TJ, like you said, like it was a nice send off to Paul Walker to himself, because of course we didn't know what could happen, because honestly I was looking up an interview that Vin Diesel said himself that he was having a hard time trying to finish 7,
No surprise.
because the loss of Paul Walker and they're trying to figure out how they could end it. So
Yep.
so but the and that's why I love number 7 because I think they handled it quite well. So,
Yes, they did.
and and in my opinion, if they stopped right there, I think it would have been a satisfying ending.
Yeah, it would have been. They couldn't resist to continue the series.
I actually saw an interview when Vin Diesel was promoting Fast 10. He said that actually the reason why they went up to 10, he said that him and Paul Walker they just done 6, Fast 6. They asked Paul Walker is it going to be a 7, 8, and 9, and then Vin Diesel mentioned to him he's like, wait a minute, I'm going to confuse you. He's like 7, 8, 9. Is it actually going to be 7, 8, 9, 10? And Vin Diesel told Kelly said that he's like Paul said, Finn, if we ever got to 10, we would actually done that cinematic history that no one ever done. So,
Really? It's definitely a
so
nice way
that's
to pay homage to him, kind of live up to what he wanted. I guess the
so
only issue I have though is if I'm being a conspiracy theorist, I don't know if that's like the only reason, but I know that's probably a big reason.
yeah. I don't know if it's that the only reason. I mean, who knows about Hollywood anymore?
Yeah.
So Well, TJ, that's all I got to say about both topics that we just talked about today. Do you have any final thoughts? So,
Oh, yeah, nothing except just I'm glad that you invited me. I appreciate you having me back on. It was nice talking with you about these two movies.
well, TJ, thank you so much for coming back on and talking with me about Guardians Volume 3 and Fast 10. So,
Yeah, you're welcome.
you know what's funny? I didn't notice it, but actually both these movies had Vin Diesel in it. So,
Mm-hmm. You sure did.
Groot and Dominic Toretto.
Completely different characters, mind you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you got Groot and you got Dominic Toretto. So,
Yeah.
so well, I suppose there's nothing else to say. Well, and thank you guys again for clicking to the only After School podcast. This is Jesse Johns.
And this is TJ Leeson, and away we go.
Goodbye.